Now, I'm sure there are neater ways of doing this, and you can go Google it. I'm not a NetBeans expert. I use Eclipse most of the time, but I'm just going to show you how I seem to figure out how to import a project into NetBeans. Here's a program I've been working on called Modems. I've got a bunch of Java text files that I've written here, and then there's a bunch of the compiled class files that I've got. Now, most IDEs separate these into two separate folders, and in fact I've noticed NetBeans will tell you that it's going to split them off into separate folders and recompile them. So I'm not going to bother about this at the moment, but at some point NetBeans is going to delete these four class files here and stick them in another folder for us. So I'll just leave that running in the background so you can just see what's going on there. Just before I do that, let me go back here. What I want you to do is I want you to in your project folder here, modems, let's say, I want you to create a new folder and call it SRC. Now that's traditionally what you would call your source folder, and then what we're going to do is we're going to grab, in fact we'll grab everything, stick the whole lot into source. There we are. So they're now in this folder called source, and you're going to see why I've done that in a second. You'll see the structure that NetBeans builds around this using source, and it'll produce one or two other folders. So this is NetBeans, what it looks like. There's actually normally a start page about here which I've just closed down to move it out of the way, but I'm going to do file, new project, and I'm going to do a new project from existing sources. If you do new project here, you can bounce through, it'll create one absolutely clean for you, but we're going to take it from existing sources. So I'm clicking that one there, I hit next, and we'll give it a project name. I don't know, let's call it modems as an example. And now what we're going to do is go find that folder. You can see I've actually clicked on it in the previously, but I'm going to go find that folder. It's modems, open it. So there we are. I've now got project folder modems, leave the build name as the same, and then I'm going to hit next. And then what I want to do is go add a folder. Now the folder I'm adding is the source folder, is the folder that, lost the cursor, where is it? Here it is. They've just set up, which is there, source folder. Click that, and that's where it's going to have they take the source from. If I hit next, it's now told me, it says the IDE generates compiled classes in a build folder. It's going to produce a build folder, stick all the compiled classes in there. It says it recommends that you delete the existing compiled classes, so we want to delete those now. And if I go back to the file browser and just check in here, you'll see it's deleted all the class files. There's only our code files left in there. So that's what we're going to import, and we're going to hit finish. Give it a second to pull them all in. And we should end up with a project. Here we go. So it's end up with a project over here, and we can click on source packages, and there are, just widen that a little bit, there are our files. So I could click on test modems and go and have a look at it, and you can alter these windows to your own particular taste, but there's test modems, the code that we're writing. You write on that code, and then what you do, you would hit build, and when you hit, let's just go back over here. Let's show you what's in here at the moment. Notice there isn't a folder in here called build with all of your class files in. If I hit run, this does two things. It does javac, it goes off and finds javac for you, and if it isn't set, it will come up with the error that you've all seen before, which is can't find javac, but it should be set if you're using this off the network. Go and find javac, compile them, and then run them. It does both things in the one step. So when you press this button here, it'll ask for which is the class that's got the main class in it. It's test modems. It's found only one. Hit run, and I think you'll have to do that once, and it's done. And you'll see down here, you look at the output. That's equivalent to watching your little black window. There we are. It's run the program. And if we go up now to the file browser, it's made this folder called build. And if I click on build, and click on classes, there are your class files that it's built afresh. That is a whistle-stop guide to importing a project into NetBeans.